everyone. We're here with Mike. Mike is from a band you need to know, Radian. They're out of Akron, Ohio, and I was introduced to them because of Legalize Lex this year, which they are playing at. Mike,
What's up?
thanks for coming to join me tonight, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Hell yeah. Um, I'm gonna be a little weird tonight just because it's like end of week, kinda, and I'm fucking out of it.
I mean, defy normal. So,
Yeah, state of mind, which I don't have, whatever.
yeah.
Um, so you guys looks like you guys started what, like 2019, 2020?
Uh, well, actively as a band, like 2019, I started writing material for this project in like winter of 17.
Oh shit.
But I didn't like I was writing material, so like with a full lineup and active and playing shows, like yeah, 2019.
Okay. Yeah, you released chapters in 2020.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Rock
then
and
like
roll.
pretty much like chapters like we released chapters and like a month later the whole fucking world shut down. So instead of like I don't know, instead of just like waiting or whatever, we already had like when we recorded chapters, we had a bunch more material that we didn't record at that in that session. Uh So then we, wrote a few more songs and then had material. So then in 2020, we actually went into the studio after we did like during like the main shutdown of COVID, we just did like a solid like 6 months of pre-production, like
Hell yeah.
twice a week. And then our buddy Sanford, he's a, musician, engineer out of Chicago. Um, he's done a bunch of stuff, over the years. That's awesome. Uh, so Sanford came down and we rented a studio and we busted it out, man. It was cool. So
Hell
we
yeah.
ended up
Well,
just coming back in 2022. Well, after everything kind of opened back up and things slowly getting back to normal. Um, we we just kind of waited for the pressing, because it took like almost a year and a half for that
yeah.
record to be pressed. So yeah, so we just tried to do what we could do to keep ourselves together, and then finally the record came, and et cetera, et cetera. So
I love the fact that you guys have vinyl too. That excites me.
yeah, thanks, man. I mean, we're pretty much just an independent band, like nothing against labels, or it's not like we're like don't want to sign with a label or anything like that, but we're just like we're gonna make shit happen regardless. You know what I'm saying? So we just release our own records on my little label.
Well,
So
I think there's a lot of bands out there that are really good bands, great music, but they don't necessarily have the drive to go out and do those things. They're like, "Oh, let's wait till a label will back us." And maybe it's money or maybe it's, they think someone else should pay for it or whatever. But like I feel like, independent bands, especially at this level, need to get out there and put their stuff on physical media for people to take home.
yeah, like something. I mean, vinyl is expensive. It is expensive, and
Yeah.
it's a commitment. So when you place that order and you pay that, it becomes a whole nother thing. Now, I mean, it's we're in a band, and it's to have fun. The sole purpose behind it is to have fun. Uh, kind of you know cultivate our craft of what we do as artists.
Hell
um
yeah, it is.
and I don't know, it's just like I don't know, it's crazy. It's just weird. I don't know, I kind of lost track of what I was saying. So I
Yeah, I think it's you're right. It's weird, but it's I think the difference for a lot of bands is exactly that, right? Like either you're gonna put it together and move forward, or you're gonna wait.
yeah. Yeah, and well, like I was gonna say, once you pay that bill and you have all this money wrapped up into getting a record pressed and what it costs to record it and get it mastered and have someone do artwork if you're not capable of doing it yourself, you know, all of these aspects now it becomes like, okay, well, we have to like work. Like we have to do shit because if you just want to be like a local band, so what you're gonna play like every weekend to the same people. And I mean, it's like people don't want to come out and see the same band every weekend, you know, and those few people or whatever that are local are only going to buy your record like once, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So,
twice if you're lucky and someone steals it from them, you know?
or whatever, you know. But
Yeah.
I guess the point being is that, you know, once you do a commitment like that, unless you just want to have 25 boxes of records sitting in your basement or your attic or whatever, just like for the rest of your life or something, you have to get out there and you have to like market yourself on social media or, you know, Bandcamp stuff and, you know, whatever you can, you know, to try to sell the records. You got to play shows, you got to travel, you know, so.
Yeah, that's that's a big thing. Another like big thing. You talk to a lot of like local bands, I'll call them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna like make it happen." Like, cool. What are you doing to make it happen? Well, we're playing a bunch of shows. Like, okay, where? Well, around the city.
Yeah.
What
I
about?
mean, that's cool. I mean, you got to start somewhere, though. You know, I mean, I don't bag on any local bands, and
Well, I'm not. Mind you, I'm not saying like local
well, I know you're not
bands.
bagging, but
Yeah, that is not my intention. I'm just saying like if for a band that wants to make something happen with the band, they have to get out there and
yeah,
go somewhere other than home. You know,
absolutely.
physical
Like
media,
it's good to
shirts, all
kind
that
of
shit.
yeah, absolutely. It's good to kind of like start off and you play a few local shows here and there, and then you might play a show like, you know, try to get a show like a couple hours away or, and start branching out and doing like a Friday, Saturday or something, and then maybe a Friday, Saturday, Sunday or, regional, so
Yeah.
it's easier for you and you can slowly build a fan base outside of just your area. But see, here in Ohio, is it's similar to like Lexington and Louisville. I mean, it's kind of like the same market. You
Yeah.
know, and in Ohio, we have Akron, Canton, Cleveland, Youngstown. Like that's all the same market, but that's all within like an hour drive from each other.
Right.
All in the northeast Ohio. So it's especially it's cool that we have that. So, at least you can definitely like maybe play one night in Cleveland because the people from Youngstown ain't necessarily going to go to Cleveland, and then the people in Cleveland definitely ain't going to Youngstown,
Right.
Cleveland people just stay in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I mean, I love them, but they don't really, very few go outside of Cleveland, they just kind of wait for you to come there. So,
I know one like dude from Cleveland and he travels for shows a lot. But
oh, there you go. Oh, yeah. Well, there
hell
you
yeah, Dion. Way to go, Dion. Keep that shit rolling.
go. Yeah. Somebody's got to.
For
From
sure. Uh, so how often do you guys like get out and play shows outside of Ohio?
um, as much as we can. Um, we have recently had some lineup changes and stuff like that, and that's kind of always been a thing. It's just like always a thing with lineup changes. But the lineup that we have now is all like really like on the same page, um, and everybody wants to do it. So, we definitely want to get out. Like we've been doing like every May, the past few years because our
Yeah.
previous singer, he's got a family, got a business, and stuff like that. So, it was hard, it was hard for to do a whole lot, but when we did it, we made it count, and we would hit it pretty hard every May. We'd hit it hard through the summer and spring and fall and stuff like that. And then around tax season, it would always kind of just drop off, and you know, and
Yeah.
we work on new material. So it's hard to say. Like as far as technically answering your question from previous, it's like a few times a year. We'd go do a nice banger, 2, 3 weeks, and then do weekends here and 4 or 5 days here and there throughout, the spring, summer, and fall, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean that's good though. I mean, I think at least you guys were getting out and doing it,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
We always
So
do.
do you guys have plans to do it more, like now with the new lineup and all that?
Yeah, actually, we have a few shows coming up in April, which Legalize Lex is one of them. We're stoked to do that, and a lot of cool bands that we've seen and played with before, and of course Braun and the Crop Fellas, and
Yeah.
all them those guys are awesome. So it's gonna be awesome. We're playing in Cleveland the night before with some friends, some Cleveland area bands, Pathless and Pythian and So Long Albatross.
All
So
right.
they're just cool friends and stuff like that. Actually, the dude that plays guitar in Pathless was a fill-in bass player for us for a year, and he recorded the bass tracks on the upcoming record that we have coming up this year,
Hell
hopefully.
yeah.
So.
So where are you guys playing in Cleveland?
We're playing at the Brothers Lounge in Lakewood, and that's like
Okay.
yeah, April 18th, and then we're playing April 19th at Legalize Lex, and then we're doing like a 2.5 week long tour in May. That starts in in Fort Wayne, Indiana, or maybe Indy. I'm not sure. That starts on the 16th of May. And then we're actually doing Louisville again. Well, coming back through Louisville to Magbar for Metal Monday on the 18th of May.
Okay. Oh yeah, so you guys will be like right there.
Yeah, and yeah, we got shows going into Georgia and South the Carolinas and Virginia and all on the East Coast and stuff like that.
That'll be fun as shit.
It seems like bands like us seem to do the best in like the Appalachia area.
Well, I think it's really funny like regionally because you've got like yes, I agree like over here Appalachia is where you guys would fucking really thrive. And then there are like pockets in the West Coast too where I think you guys would do really fucking good, like
Oh
Denver
yeah,
and Vegas.
yeah. My old band Rue. I mean, we toured. We had a nice about a 10-year stretch of being an active band, and we toured periodically throughout that whole 10 years. I mean, we played all over the whole West Coast, and with a whole bunch of crazy bands. We did stuff with Goat Horror. We did stuff with um uh what is that band? Why am I drawing a blank right now? Uh
Because
they're
you're
re-
on the TV.
Yeah, they're really huge right now. Cattle Decapitation. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we did stuff with them, and we were just like a sludge band, and we played with all like a bunch of death metal band. We did a bunch of stuff. We toured with Bongzilla. We toured with Weed Eater. Like I can't even remember. I don't remember how many times.
Right.
There's so many
Yeah,
memories.
I feel like everyone's toured with Weed Eater more times than they can remember, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Or more remembered or less remembered than did, or I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah,
For
so
sure.
we've but it's been a while since we've been to those areas, and things have changed and venues have come and gone and stuff like that. Some are still around. Uh, we definitely plan on doing something like that, and going out west and going further and doing longer tours. But we're working into that. This is a new lineup. We have a new fill-in bass player for this year. Maybe he'll decide to stay permanently. I don't know. Um, but so we definitely plan on doing more longer stuff, going different areas, going west, doing more Midwest, more South, stuff like
Hell
that.
yeah. Well, that's good, because like we've said 20 times already, you've got to get out and do it. And that you guys have a lineup that is willing to go out and really do it is
Yeah.
I think that's key to a band's success.
Well, half of the band lives in Lansing, Michigan.
Oh,
So I live in Akron, Ohio. The guy that's playing bass with us right now, Jeff, our friend Jeff, he lives in Akron. My drummer and singer, they live in Lansing. So
shit.
they got about a 230-mile drive one way to come here
Yeah.
for us to rehearse and blah blah blah. And we're at the tail end of tracking vocals for our new record too. So we're wrapping that. We're trying to get that wrapped up, and after we're done tracking vocals, got to mix it and get it mastered and figure out, what we're doing as far as physical media. I know
Yep.
CDs are starting to make somewhat of a comeback. I've never, I haven't released CDs with this band or my label, you
S-
know.
CDs and tapes, dude. That's like so weird to me, but whatever.
Tapes, I hated tapes in 1985 and I hate them now.
Yeah, I don't want to
I
grab my
am.
pencil and have to twist that shit. Like, no. No, I
Right,
did that enough when I was a kid. Like, I'm done,
right.
you know? So funny. I love my vinyl though. I fucking absolutely love my vinyl. So,
Yeah, it's
mm,
fun for me to like physically take this record out of the sleeve and look at the artwork and put it on the turntable and move the needle. It's just fun. And then I can sit back and jam out and listen to the tunes and check out the record and read the insert if it's got one or whatever.
yeah, like it's a ritual,
Yeah,
you put it on, you're checking out the artwork, you're reading the fucking lyrics because
right,
the sheet is big enough where you can actually read the fucking lyrics. You're not like, what is
right,
that? You
right.
know?
And like when you're listening to stuff like on Spotify or something like that, like I drive, for work. So I'm driving all day, and I'm either listening to podcasts or I'm listening to music. And it's like you don't know the name of the song. You have to, get out of this screen on your stereo to go to this screen to see what the band is or whatever. So I don't know song titles, but when you get a record and you sit down, you're like, track two,
And
shit.
well, and yes, you're like, oh, I know this song. And it also, you're not like, man, I've been singing this lyric like this for 10 fucking years and I finally read it and oh, that's what it really
I
is.
totally understand now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have
Like
the
shit.
epiphany.
Yeah. Like, oh shit, the song makes sense now. What the fuck?
Right.
So Legalize Lex, we're a little under 2 months away, like month and a half ish. Um, who are you looking forward to seeing the most, like on the 19th?
Man. Uh Let me see here. I mean, definitely Crop.
Yeah,
I
those
think
dudes fucking jam.
I think is playing the night before. I think they're playing Friday. Let me
They are
let me
playing
look at the
Friday. Yep.
uh I wish we could have been there both nights, but seeing that, half the band lives in Michigan and stuff like that, it was kind of hard, so we just decided to um do a show instead and kind of get, a little even more warmed up outside of our rehearsal that you know um on stage and stuff, with the new lineup. Let
Yeah, little
me
weekend run.
let's see here. So
Here we are. The 19th, we have Horseburner,
yeah,
Lopan, Rebreather. Hold on,
yeah,
I gotta move
Rebreather are great friends. We toured with them for like 5 days last year.
right on.
Did like a handful of dates with them guys. Been friends with them for 20 years. Lopan are old school homies. Uh, in previous bands, not in Radian, so this will be our first time playing with them.
They
Uh,
fucking jam, dude. I love Lopan.
yeah, they're awesome, and they're great guys, and they're funny as hell too.
Hell
They
yeah.
just got the greatest sense of humor. Like if you don't have a sense of humor or understand a sense of humor, then yeah, you'll just be like, what?
Yeah.
So no,
Yeah.
no, they're awesome dudes. Love those
Well,
guys.
and then we've got Friendship Commander, Blind Scryer, Veilcast, you
Yeah.
guys, of course.
We've played with Veilcast at Ohio Doomed and Stoned, and I watched most of their set. And they're really killer band from Indiana, I believe. Um, yeah,
Right on.
they were really killer. And uh, Blind Scryer and the other, I haven't seen those two bands, but I've checked them out on the playlist that Braun put together for
Yeah.
the Spotify playlist. So I've listened to that quite a bit driving around. I'm definitely looking. I mean, honestly, I'm just looking forward to seeing all the bands, like
Yeah.
everybody. To be honest, because I love music and I love people, and as long as you're righteous, and cool
Not a
and nice,
douchebag. Yeah.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
um, I,
Well,
I want to
and
see everybody and hang out. So
Braun does a really good job, I think, at curating. Last year was year one and it fucking crushed. It was one day and
yeah,
it was just like go from the time we started till, till it ended, of course. But
right.
the way they ran the schedule was awesome.
Back
It
and forth,
worked
back
out
and
like,
forth. Yeah,
yeah, like this band stops, this band plays, this
yeah.
band stops, this band plays. Like, fuck
Well,
yeah.
also, I mean, Braun does a great job, but he's also reaching out to bands that like know what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not like this is anybody's first gig. You know what I'm saying? We know how to play shows, and we
Yeah.
know how to work together, and we know how to make things work smoothly because it benefits everybody involved.
Even sometimes with the veteran bands, some of those folks are gonna they run late and
Yeah,
they don't give a shit. So it I know how hard it is with that many bands. I know how hard it is with three or four bands on a bill, let alone 15, to keep everything on track and rolling forward, like
yeah.
on schedule. One
Like
time it went off just because there was a someone's head fucked up.
right. We've done stuff like that at a place at, in Kent, Ohio, not too far from us at the Outpost, and we've done various different uh like not as in me, but as in like other guys around the local scene and stuff like that. Like my old drummer and Rue did this thing called Align the Nine, and it was like nine headlining bands on one bill, and then you know, the guys in Kenny from Goosed, which was a kick-ass local band around here. Well, I mean, they played regionally. They weren't just a local band, but they they were local to us, and their bass player ended up being in Radian for the better part of 4 years. Um, he is technically our actual bass player. He's just got some serious health issues he's got to address, and
That sucks,
playing bass is not conducive to that.
right?
So, um,
God, that's
so
fucked
in
up.
my mind, he's the guy until he tells me he can never do it again. So
How likely do you think that is?
uh, probably a few years. But if he's able to ever come back to playing music, it'd
Yeah.
probably be a good few years. But I don't know. The light's always on in the window. He knows about it, and we're still good buds, and we talk all the time. He's supposed to come to rehearsal Monday and hang out. So
Shit, yeah.
yeah,
Was it Motel 6? We'll leave the light on for you.
yeah. Yeah. That's something I don't know. I heard as a kid a lot or something. I'll leave a light
Yeah,
window for your kid or something.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah. God, it's funny. I grew up in Michigan,
Oh, okay.
and I was just talking to someone yesterday. What did I say? You got to make hay when the sun's shining, and she's like, "I love that saying." I'm like, "Oh, I do too. I love all those sayings because like I didn't have that shit as a kid. It was like, do your fucking job, and that that was it. Get the
Right.
fuck out of here."
Yeah, my childhood was weird, man. I was getting bitched at all the time or whatever, you know. It was
Yep, I think that was part of growing up in the '80s.
I remember my grandfather telling me the only reason why they had children was so you didn't have to get up and get your own beer, and so you didn't have to get up and turn the television channel. Boy, get me a beer. Boy, change that TV. Boy, get on your BMX bike and go up to the store 3 miles uphill and come back with 4 gallons of milk. You
Yeah,
know, stuff
get me
like
some
that.
cigarettes while you're up there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Here's a note, you know.
yeah. Back when you could use a fucking note to buy cigarettes. That's just so funny.
Oh, I used to do that. Me and my buddies, we'd have somebody, their older sister, write us a note and stuff so we can get cigarettes. We ended up always scoring cigarettes at this Dunkin' Donuts, and there was a cigarette machine, and that was when a Marlboro Reds were $1.50 in a
Oh
machine,
yeah.
you know. So that was like expensive. And we get a bunch of quarters and just go right in, and all the old dudes in there drinking coffee and eating donuts. They didn't even look at us, so that's where we get our cigarettes. It's funny.
I'd always go to the store and be like, "Oh, my dad wants these cigarettes," and they're like, "That's not what your dad smokes." I'm like, "Oh, that's what he's feeling today," and they'd let me, often like get away with it. I'm like, fuck yeah. But I quit smoking about 15 years ago.
I wish I could say that.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel so much better without it.
I'm slowly. I mean, I'm over it, and I'm sick of it. So it's getting to that point, and I've tried, and I don't smoke cigarettes in my house. And if it's like 12 degrees, I'm not going to go stand outside and freeze my ass off to smoke a cigarette.
Right.
So it's been, eh, I just end up smoking more weed, or I end up smoking more while I'm driving all day working.
Oh yeah. That was my issue. I chain smoked when I drive.
Yeah. Well, now I gotta tell myself, okay, it's like 10 a.m. I'm smoking a cigarette. I can't smoke another one until 11 a.m.
Yeah.
or 1 hour. So I don't normally I'd smoke 5, 6 cigarettes in that hour. So that's what I've been doing a lot lately. So
That, it's funny how that works because I remember those days like, oh, I just had a cigarette. Okay, I've got to give myself 30 minutes before I have my next one or, whatever that time was. But
exactly.
cigarettes are so fucking expensive now too.
Oh, dude, it's horrible. It's horrible. But
What do you
anyway,
get? What do you
I
what do you
don't know.
pay for cigarettes up there?
Like 11, 18 up for because I smoke menthol, so it's like 11, 18 for a pack of Marlboro menthol.
Fuck that, dude.
Yeah, something like that. So I just usually go to the gas station where I got my card, and if you buy 2 packs, you get $1 off or something.
Yeah,
What?
save me a buck.
It's ridiculous. It's
And
stupid.
you remember those times where it's like when cigarettes hit $2 a pack, I'm fucking out,
I'm
man.
quitting. Yeah.
Yeah,
I said at one point when they hit $10 a pack, I'm done, and here I am, still smoking.
that's all right. You'll make the decision one day and you'll be like, I'm fucking done. Moving
Yeah,
on.
I'm pretty much to that point. I just physically haven't detached yet.
Yeah.
Mentally, I'm like way over it. So,
So you guys finishing up recording? Do you have a name for the upcoming album?
we do. I just don't know what it's called. I don't know it. That's a question that I'm yet to ask myself. Things have been so busy, man. Like we get together, like these dudes drive like 4 hours, and they get here and we kind of stretch out and bullshit, have a couple smokes outside or something. and then um and then we just kind of get to jamming, and then or tracking, whatever we're doing. Like our drummer had surgery like a month ago, um pretty minor surgery, but it was on the back of his shoulder. So this coming Monday will be his first time, or our first rehearsal in like over a month, because he's been healing. So we've been
Yeah.
tracking every week instead. That we're in my little dungeon of doom here. This is like my home studio down here. So like I record other bands and local bands and local artists and stuff like that down here and all that.
It
So
looks like you've got a pretty good fucking setup down there.
yeah, that camera, it gives it a weird looking angle, but it's much wider than what it appears. But yeah, it's a cool little setup, man. I have a good little setup, and it works out good. I'm getting good sounds and good results, even though it's a basement. I'm still getting great drum sounds, and I mean, I'm not complaining. The new Radian record's sounding amazing, and I've
Fuck
tracked
yeah.
tracked everything, so far. Just about. We had some assistance with the drums, but other than that, I've pretty much done everything.
That's cool as shit. What are you using to record? Like,
I
obviously
Pro,
computer, but like,
Pro Tools.
okay.
Yeah, Pro Tools. I actually went to school for it, so I have like a degree as an audio engineer.
All right,
So
Mr. Smarty
I wish,
Pants. Like,
yeah. So I do that, but it's not. It's about 2 years ago is when I got this new house and had enough space and everything to actually do a whole band or something like that.
yeah.
So I've done a handful here, and it's turning out good. So just hoping to get some more people, and it's slowly getting more and more stuff is coming in. So, and
Fuck
it's
yeah,
not
dude.
like I'm like super super pushing it. It's all kind of like word of mouth type of thing too.
That's the best way to build a business, I feel like,
Yeah, I just
you know?
recorded last Sunday. I recorded a 18-year-old girl. She goes by the name Roo, Roo, and we recorded one track. She's never been in a studio. She's never recorded before. She plays guitar and sings, and she killed it. She's never done vocal harmonies or anything like that, and I had her do, like three-part vocal harmonies on the choruses of her song and stuff like that, and it turned out awesome. And it was kind of like refreshing to not be doing metal for a
Yeah.
change. You know what I'm saying? Not nothing against. I love doing it. It was a little refreshing, a little something a little different, man. And she was stoked at how it turned out, and she's got more songs, so hopefully we get to do some more stuff on that front.
Well, and I think when you branch out of like the not even just the metal world, but whatever world you're like 90% in, you get out and do these things with these other people, you learn little like things to actually like translate. Oh, this worked really well with,
That,
the
yeah,
singer-songwriter. Let's try that, with this fucking sound.
absolutely, absolutely. Because there's absolutely no rules when it comes to the recording world.
Yeah, that's the fucking truth.
Try
What
all.
got you interested in like recording?
Well, like I said, we're like a DIY type independent band. So, I've always kind of wanted to like transition, as they say, to the other side of the glass, kind of. Um, but I just, I just wanted to do my own stuff, man. DIY. I don't want to rely on paying I mean, it depends on what I'm doing. Like, I have no problem giving an engineer that's amazing, that's got a multi-million dollar studio. I have no problem giving any of those people anything that they want to go record. But
Right.
that, since we're independent, that's not always an option to go pay $600 a day to be
Yeah.
in a studio for 2 weeks or a week or whatever it is. So I actually decided to, with a good friend of mine, Mike Sanchez. He plays in a band called Acid Bath.
Yep.
So him and I went to Chillicothe, Ohio, and it's kind of like a technical type of school called the Recording Workshop. And it was like a 2 month program, and we stayed there on their little campus and stuff. And
I almost did that back in the 90s. I almost
it,
went to the recording workshop.
oh, it was awesome, dude. It was awesome. Like I learned more in one day there than I did in like 1 year looking at shit on YouTube and just
Yeah.
trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. So it
Well,
was
there
awesome.
the kind, you have someone that does it and knows like how to guide you. Whereas when you're trying to like self-learn, unless you're 100% immersed in it all the time, it you get in and you're like, oh, this is fucking cool. Like, and you learn like one thing over 4 hours,
Right.
you know?
Yep. And then you learn that, and then you learn a bunch of other shit, and then they turn right back around and pound you with what you learned back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like a beating all this shit in your head. But it worked, man. It stuck with me, and I'm like kind of borderline obsessed with it, with the gear that I've got. And there's always, when it comes to a studio, it's a never ending hole of
yeah.
money, throwing money down a never ending hole. But you're going to use all that stuff, so. But right now I've stopped. I'm trying to pay credit cards off and stuff like that before I go any further and
Dude,
screw
I think
myself.
I feel like everyone's trying to pay credit cards off right now.
Yeah, let's not even get into that.
Yeah, no shit.
So.
Don't get old and have credit cards, kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that shit sucks. How many songs did you guys record for the new album?
The new album, 6 songs, and it's about uh 40 minutes of material.
Okay.
6 songs, about 40 minutes, something like that. And this is the first album with the new singer. So, and he's really kicking ass, man. He's really doing a good job. There's a lot more singing on the new record than previous records, but equal as much, screaming and stuff like that. But we're just trying to like experiment with more stuff and like here. So I got the studio, so why not? There's no clock over our head. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So hey, man, let's try a 4-part harmony over that singing part. Bam, it sounds amazing. Like why not? You know what I'm saying? So we're kind of experimenting, and it's a pretty pissed off record to compared to previous stuff. There's pissed off songs and there's mellow songs on the other stuff, because there's no rules once again.
Yep.
So we're not just a sludge band, or we're not just a doom band. There's like elements of everything that I love kind of all mashed up into one. It's kind of become, I guess, somewhat like my my style, I guess you could say. Maybe I don't, loosely, maybe I say that. I don't know.
I, I like that though. I like when someone's not afraid to go like, okay, we're gonna do this fucking Doom album, and you know what? Let's throw in this really light shit over here too. Like,
Yeah,
because it takes you by surprise, and it really keeps you interested. Like, oh shit, what's coming
right.
up next?
Yeah. I think primarily, like, if we're gonna put like subgenres and stuff like that, I think primarily we're a sludge band, but we have elements of doom metal, we have elements of rock and roll, we have elements of sludge, or I'm sorry, of grunge. We have elements of crossover hardcore. You know what I'm saying? There's like probably like 8 or 9 different subgenres of metal, post metal wrapped up in there. That's all a lot of the
Oh,
mellow
like,
stuff, and some
yeah.
post rock stuff, even, stuff like that. So it's just like all this stuff that I just love, all these different styles. And then, and I never go into writing a song with a mind frame like, oh, well, I want it to be like a post metal hardcore mixture. It's just kind of like this shit just comes out, man. And it's just natural, I guess.
That's how it should be though, right? Like, because it's music. There should be no like there aren't boundaries in music except the boundaries you give yourself. So if you're like, fuck it, man, like I really like this aspect of, post metal, I'm going to throw that with, this fucking doom influence and let's see what kind of shit we can, put together there.
right.
Like that keeps
Absolutely.
it fucking interesting.
Yeah. And that's what I've been doing my whole like little career, 28 years now of out doing it, like out
God,
playing
you're old.
actively. Yeah, I'm getting there. I am. I feel it, man. I'm tired. My joints hurt.
Yeah.
Speaking of joints, but
Uh, how old are you?
I'm 46.
Oh, okay.
I'll be
Yeah, that's
40
not too bad.
September. I think I may be 47, but I'm pretty positive I'm 46.
I'll be 49 in May.
So we're right there.
Yeah.
A
Yeah, we
universe.
grew up at the same time. They were all throwing beer cans at us to get more beer.
Yep. Pretty much.
That's so fucking funny. So, with the upcoming album, do you guys have like goals or thresholds that you would like to meet when it like gets released?
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing like with with me and when I'm doing stuff, like I like to put in motion always like a 6 month plan. And and it keeps it going. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like good. So if you put a 6 month plan in motion, you're like, okay, well, this month and this month we're going to do this, and this month we're going to work on that, and that month we're going to work on this, and and as a band, and that's trying to do it, we're just not trying to be like some, like I said, like a local band. We're doing it. So when you have a 6 month plan, it keeps you it keeps you active, it keeps you doing stuff, and it has you something to look forward to and goals that you achieve, and then once you achieve those goals it makes you feel good, you know what I'm saying? so
Yep.
so if you don't have plans in motion, then you're just kind of like sitting around with your thumb in your ass. It's kind of like, well, what do we do next? Should we play a show? Should we try to write more? So that's why, like, when we shut down in the wintertime around tax season and stuff like that, that's normally, if we're not trying to bring a new member into the band and people learning material and stuff like that, normally we're working on new material.
Yeah, I mean,
um
I noticed you guys have been like consistently putting something out. You got the two albums, and then you've got that split that
yeah,
came out.
yeah, the split was right after the first album. The split with Robust Fellow. It's a label out of Ukraine, and we did a split on cassette, but it was part of. Let's see here. So here's the only one left, I think. So if you can see that,
Yeah.
so there's like, it's got all this crazy packaging and stuff. So there's 5 cassettes inside of here, and each cassette is a Ukraine band doing a split with a band from afar.
Oh,
And there's only
sweet.
like 2 bands from the United States, and we're one of them. And there's another band from like I can't even remember what they're called, which is a shame. But they're from like Washington State, maybe Oregon,
Okay.
maybe Oregon, Portland or something. I can't remember, but yeah. So we did that split with those dudes, and it worked out cool, and they sold out like that. So
That's cool.
they were like gone. So
Yeah, I mean that I think that's a really cool idea to do, a bunch of different bands on, like 10 bands on 5 tapes. You
right.
fucking get them out there and you've got fans from all the bands buying that shit, which is fucking super cool. I liked
Right.
it when they did. There was a punk label that did splits, and it was the cool thing about it was the bands covered each other's songs.
Oh, wow.
So you're like, oh shit,
That's cool
yeah,
as shit.
yeah. I thought it was really fucking cool.
We were planning on doing a split with Bill, that is our actual bass player. His band Goose that I talked about, they used to do a festival around here called the Blackout Cookout. It was awesome. They did it for 10 years.
Oh
10
shit.
years. And it was great, man. Lopan played, I think, every single one of them, but maybe one, and it was great. Uh, Whores played one. I mean, a whole bunch of bands. But
Oh yeah.
uh, we were going to do a split 7-inch, and Radian was going to do one song, and Goose was going to do another song, but we were going to play on the Goose material. Like they were going to record their drums and guitar and all that and bass, but then we were going to go back and do more guitar and drums and bass and have two drummers, and we were going to come together kind of like Melvins and Phantomos, big
Oh
band,
yeah.
some similar to that, and it just never happened. Like we tracked our parts at a studio that I was working at in Youngstown, but Goose ended up, like, people ended up moving away and stuff like that, so they kind of ended up somewhat dissipating, which is
Oh shit.
unfortunate. They were a
Yeah.
cool band, so
That would have been cool. That would have
yeah,
been really fucking cool.
that was the idea. That way we could all collaborate together, and that's what I really wanted to do. But maybe we'll still be able to do that with someone else, like in someday, in the
Yeah,
future.
I mean, I think the ability to do those things or even think about doing those things is really fucking cool because it introduces new sounds into what would be otherwise like a pretty traditional like band mix, you know?
Right, right, absolutely.
Yeah, that's got to be fucking hard to engineer though. You're like, oh, that snare. Oh fuck, wrong snare. I didn't mean to fuck that one up. Let me
No, you just label stuff right, man. That's all.
yeah.
You know,
I don't label shit. I'm like, I guess at everything.
I gotta label it when you got, like, 25 tracks up.
Yeah.
You have to,
Yeah.
and then if somebody else is going to work on the record, it's like if you don't label, like, what do you want me to do? Decipher hieroglyphics here? Like, what do you think? I'm a mind reader or something?
Right.
You,
Yeah.
you just kind of, when you get into big projects. I mean, if there's 3 tracks or something, I mean, that's one thing. But like I said, if you got 25 or, you know, more or less, whatever, you got to label shit. So,
Yeah. I don't think I ever fucked with more than, I don't know, probably like three or four tracks at a time.
nice. Yeah. So I usually do just drums is like anywhere from 12 to 18. It's just microphones. So it just depends on the drum set and depends on the band and, you know, all that good stuff.
Hell yeah. So when you guys come to Lexington, are you planning to stay the fucking night or drive home same night?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Uh, it's hard to say. I can't honestly answer that question.
That's
Uh,
fair.
uh, I mean, it's hard to say. More than likely, my singer and drummer will go separately so they can head back to Michigan afterwards. More than likely, maybe, I don't know, but they'll stick around for the whole show, but they'll just go
Yeah.
back to Michigan instead of going back to Ohio and then going to Michigan, because it's only a one off, show. So,
Yeah. And they're, I
well,
mean,
we're
it,
playing Cleveland the night before. I'm sure they'll come up for that, and they're not going to go back to Michigan. They're going to stay here, and,
right. Yeah. That would make no sense.
yeah.
4 hours there, 4 hours back, 4 hours there to drive.
Oh, my drummer's crazy when it comes to driving, man. That dude has no boundaries. He'll drive. He don't care.
Shit.
It's hard
That's
telling.
fucking, yeah,
I
that's
doubt
funny
it.
shit.
I doubt it, but it's hard telling.
Yeah. No telling. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, you never know what someone else is thinking, especially when they do crazy shit. You're like, what?
right.
Whatever.
Totally.
That's fucking dope. So, what timeline do you think until the album's mixed and you get it sent off to presses?
Uh, right now, probably it'll probably be a few months before. I'd probably say 2 or 3 months before it's. We still have two more songs to track vocals to. Um, and then editing and mixing and stuff like that. So 2 3 months before that, and then it's going to go out to mastering. We do that with Colin Jordan. He's in Chicago. He owns Boiler Room Mastering. Dude's awesome. He's done like Ministry and like a bunch of cool stuff. I've worked with him. He mastered the Discordian record,
Oh
and he
yeah.
he just crushes it, man. And he's an awesome. He's just a cool dude. Easy to work with, you know. So probably just do that, stick with him because it worked well last time,
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, fuck. I wouldn't either.
So and then after that, like pressing, I don't even know where we're at like right now with pressing times, and I think we're gonna do a pre-order thing on our Bandcamp. I mean, we don't have a ton of followers on our Bandcamp. I don't know. It's hard to get people into Bandcamp, man, because a lot of people like in the normal like people like mainstream people, they don't know what it is, and they don't like really understand it, I guess, and then you got people that are like, oh, they die hard Bandcamp stuff, and I don't mind Bandcamp. It's cool. It goes right in, goes right into the band account, so it goes right to us. Anything,
Well, and it's all encompassing, right? You go onto Bandcamp, you can stream the music and decide if you want the album, and then you can buy the fucking, you can buy it digitally to download, or you can freaking buy when they have physical media, you can buy it and have it shipped to you.
right? No matter where you're at,
Right.
anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere the post office will let me send it, I'll ship it. I mean, they're paying for shipping, but
Yeah,
but
that which
you
isn't
know,
fucking cheap sometimes.
no, no. I sent a lot of records to Switzerland and Sweden for some reason.
How how expensive is that?
Uh, like 25, 25, $28, something like that.
I
Somewhere
I
right around there. It's just under $30.
I hear that Australia is the most expensive place to ship.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I've spent more money shipping stuff to California than anywhere. But I don't know why, but they they charge a bunch more money to ship stuff to California. I don't know why. So
That's wild.
yeah, I don't understand it, but
Well,
I can't recall the last time. I know I have sent stuff to Australia in the past. It's been a while, and I just can't recall at this moment like what it cost or if it was super expensive or whatever.
right. Yeah, like I had a conversation with a buddy who's got a smaller label, and I think if I remember right, he said it was like $60 to ship something to Australia, just a single record. Like, what the fuck?
Whoa, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, they gotta really want that son of a bitch to
So what DIY people should do is find someone like me or or some small indie label or some other band or something and just like say, hey man, let me send you a handful of records and then direct people in Australia to buy stuff off of him or something, or whatnot.
yeah, it's essentially distribution deals,
Yeah,
you know.
somewhat, but it's like DIY distribution. You know?
Yeah, but it's still distribution, like it's
Yeah. Oh yeah.
we talked about that, which I think is really cool. I think if a lot of the smaller labels that are kind of in a similar vein started, trading shit like that, I think it would really help blow up everyone.
Well, that was always a thing back in the early 2000s. I mean, like we were with Shifty Records, which was a label here in Northeast Ohio, and Rue and Sofa King Killer, another band that I was in, and Fistula and Abdullah and some of these popular Northeast Ohio bands that did stuff with Shifty. Um, all That's all he did, man. He had like different labels all over the world, and he would trade. He would just trade with them.
Oh
So,
yeah.
this dude in England's got, six records of his or eight records or whatever, and they just trade. And then Shifty selling it on his website and stuff. Now, he's really not doing stuff, but he's still got a really awesome Discogs. If you look up Shifty Records
All right.
in Discogs, he's got a ton of records, man. He's got a ton of killer stuff, and he's been trading with labels, small independent labels, for years, man. And that's how we had our distribution back in the day. You just
Yeah.
traded all these, like I said, all these indie labels, and that's how all over the world. And that's
Yeah, that's cool. I guess I never realized that went on at, at a lower level. I,
oh
I
yeah,
I
I've been
imagined it did, but
happening.
I never knew for sure.
I think that there's probably like less people doing it now, probably, but I don't know. I
No,
really
I
don't.
think you're right though, because now I think a lot of the mindset is, well, I mean, shit, I can ship anywhere and I can market anywhere. Like,
Right.
why do I want to go with you and do this? Which I look at it like if a couple of labels come together and they're trading records to sell for each other, like your fan base now becomes their fan base too. So you're
Right.
really growing the fucking scene.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like in like 2000 up to 2008, 5, 8, something like that, with Shifty, man. It was exactly like that. And there was just people that were there were people that were just dedicated to just that label, just Shifty. Like they would
Yeah.
just, oh, it's on Shifty, I'm gonna buy it. Like relapse people, there was
Oh,
people that were
yeah, they
so
fucking,
dedicated to
they're still
relapse
like it now. Yeah.
in that same time. Oh well, relapse put it out. It's got to be awesome. I'm gonna buy it. And yeah, I actually just got a message on the Radian page from this dude from Columbus that used to come to shows and to Rue shows and back around since like 2000 and stuff, and 2000 on and up. And he was just reminiscent about those times, and he mentioned Shifty Records and all the bands that we'd put out because he would work with local bands, too, that he thought were great.
Hell
So
yeah.
it was
Well, and
pretty cool.
I think that's another thing, right? Is like smaller labels are willing to work with the bands who, if it's got good music, they're like, yeah, let's give it a shot and see what fucking happens.
Right. Well, with Shifty, you never signed a contract. You own the rights to your music. He just pressed it and gave you X amount of copies, and the rest were his.
Yeah.
Then if you sold your copies, then you could just buy more off of him at cost. He really
Yeah.
wasn't even making money off you. You know what I'm saying? He just loved the music and stuff. So it was always kind of a deal like that. So he always said that we were as much a part of that label as he was, because we were the music, and he was the brains, so to speak. So to speak.
Yeah. I mean, it, I feel like that's how it should be though, right? Like there is a place for labels. I don't feel like there's a place for Warner Records anymore. Not in the heavy music world, you know.
There
Uh,
is, I mean, there is,
I
but
don't I don't think
maybe
so.
maybe not so much in the heavy music, like you said, but like there's a purpose for Sony and there's a purpose for Warner and there's a purpose for those, but it's more poppy stuff. That's to make like billions of dollars. It's a huge industry. It's a
Well,
multi-billion dollar conglomerate industry there you're talking about.
yeah, but that's what I mean though. Like,
So that,
in
yeah,
a
there's no need for a band like Radian to be with Sony. I don't know, but that'd kind of be cool, maybe. I
no,
don't,
I don't think so. I think you'd
I
be
don't know.
really disappointed. I feel
I've
like
never
if
really
those,
dealt with a label to that caliber, so I really can't. I really can't speak on that.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
But you're probably right. You
I've
know,
not dealt with them. I know war stories from lots of people, and it's like, fuck, just do it yourself.
I'm sure a
Like,
lot of pressure. Too.
well, yeah, you're gonna put a fucking record out. You're on a 2-year cycle. You have to put out 6 fucking albums. And if you get off track and we can't get you back on track pretty quickly, get the fuck out. And you still owe us money. And we own all of your fucking music. Like,
Yeah.
no, fuck
See, I would
that.
never just give my rights to my music away, man. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
It's just like Jack White. He's with Sony, but he owns all his music. He owns all his songs. And that dude
That's
was
how it should be.
and that dude was smart when he went into the business because he had a good late lawyer that was like, "Hey, listen, keep the rights to your songs. And someday he'll probably be able to sell them for millions.
Fuck,
So
dude.
if he wants to, what did Motley Crue just sell theirs for?
I was like 2 or 300 million,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the Beatles sold their catalog in the 80s for 80 million or something silly.
I think that was Michael Jackson when Michael Jackson bought it. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, the
and
Beatles didn't sell it, but whoever owned it sold it.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever label,
Oh,
Beatlemania.
yeah. Which
I'm not
is
a big
it's
Beatles fan, but
I love the fucking Beatles. I
I listen
love
to
what
a
they
podcast called "Your Favorite Band Sucks," and it's two dudes out of Nashville, and they know music, man. But I just listened to an episode called "The Beatles Suck," and they didn't say much about John Lennon, but they didn't like Paul McCartney. They didn't like him so much. It's a good
Yeah,
It's a good podcast.
I'll have to check it out. I think
Yeah,
that like the Beatles they were good for what they were, like
yeah,
they broke a lot of glass ceilings and like they were the sum of all the parts.
yeah. Them
Without
and them and the Rolling Stones were like innovators for sure.
Yeah,
I
without
don't
any one of
disagree with
those
that.
members, they wouldn't have been what they were, you
Right,
know?
right.
So
I don't disagree. Like them and the Rolling Stones were definitely like some innovators. Don't mean I have to necessarily like their music or only
absolutely.
like a few, only like a few songs or something.
Yeah, well, and that again, that's another thing about music. Like it's so subjective. You don't have to like what everyone else likes. Like it's great to have conversations about bands with another person that maybe you don't like the band they like or they don't like the band you like. Like fuck that. Let's have a conversation. Why? What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's cool to learn that shit.
Keeps it interesting.
Fuck yeah, it does. If
Yeah,
everyone liked the same thing, it'd be a boring ass world.
yeah, yeah. No shit. And the fact that the general public just like shitty music in general, you know, like listen to some of the biggest bands that people listen to that are on the radio and whatever driving Ferraris around. They're shitty bands or artists or whatever whatever type of pop music, but we don't need to get into all that. So
No, we definitely don't. But Mike, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
yeah, I appreciate your time, man.
Hell yeah.
Legalize Lex. Legalize
Legalize.
Lex. April 19th. We play at 6:30 p.m. inside. It's going to be a rager. We want to hang out with everybody. We want to have a good time. Peace.
Get your fucking tickets to Legalize Lex, April 18th and 19th at Al's Bar in Lexington. There's probably a place to find those tickets. We'll help you find it. All right, dude. Have a great night.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate you.
See ya. Yeah.
Later.